Kiss rocked Indy one last time, and we were there to witness it. Welcome, Kiss Army, to episode 74 of the Kiss Army Things podcast. My name is Daphne.
And my name is Xander. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. So today is going to be our review of the Indianapolis show. I told you guys we weren't going to do a video on Sunday. I kept my promise. However, we do have another surprise episode here on Monday. So I really wanted Daphne to be able to have an episode where we could talk about her show, because we're going to be in Rosemont on the day that you guys are watching. It's probably on Monday. So we're going to do a whole episode there. But I really wanted to do a show with Daphne while it's fresh in our minds.
Yeah.
And just talk about the show.
And because this was my last Kiss show, since I unfortunately will not be in Rosemont.
For real this time.
Yeah, no, like for sure.
Yeah. This is definitely, going to be, it's actually like, it was their 5th to last show overall on this tour.
Yeah.
So this end of the road tour. So, which was really special, and we are feeling extra grateful right now.
So grateful.
Extra grateful
because
right now.
it almost didn't happen, and we honestly, for a few days there, were convinced that it was not going to happen. With everything I'm sure you guys saw going on with Paul's health, and the 3 shows that they had to unfortunately cancel directly leading up to ours, we thought there's no way. We thought they're just going to cancel everything until New York so he can rest up until then. But we got so lucky that I guess he managed to recover a little early to get back in time for the Indy show. So it just made it extra special for us because we're so grateful, and we still are feeling for all of the fans out there that didn't get a chance to see their last show because of those cancellations.
Yeah, absolutely. Our hearts go out to every single fan that did not get to see Kiss for the last time, or even the first time and only time.
Yeah.
In Ottawa, Toronto, and Knoxville. We were hoping the whole time that those shows would either happen or somehow miraculously be rescheduled before the New York dates, but it's just something
it's not possible.
Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. Not because Kiss doesn't want to, but just because they can't.
There's no time left.
There is no time left, and they've already put the date on it twice now.
Right.
This end of the road tour. 3 times if you want to mention the first farewell tour.
Right.
So, at a certain point, it does have to end, unfortunately. That does mean that a handful of fans will not be able to, see the band. And I made sure to, think about everybody while I was there in Indianapolis and just be happy and be grateful that we were able to, see the show, that those that were there, that were seeing their last show or their first show, got to be there. And, of course, the main thing is that Paul was in good health and was in really good spirits. And so
he was doing great.
Yeah, and, you were talking about how we were really convinced that it was going to not happen. So I was already making, plan B, C, and D. I said, Jed, I still want you to come down, because he's driving from Illinois.
Yeah.
He's driving 4 or 5 hours and plus. And so I was like, man, I still want you to come down. I still want to hang out. I still want to see you. So does Daphne. Even though we can't go to the show, we can still make fun. We can still, we'll watch a Kiss DVD. We'll watch a Kiss concert, maybe East Rutherford or something. We'll go out to eat at a restaurant, and then we can go record shopping. He's been looking for a copy of Hot in the Shade to complete one part of his collection. So I was like, we can go record shopping, and we'll just make our own fun. We will just control the things that we can control.
Yeah.
And let everything else just hopefully sort themselves out. And, so we said, hey, we'll just, we'll make our own fun. And then the day of, it was looking like it was going to happen. We saw some posts from Amber Wild. KOL posted. Mm-hmm. I think Gamebridge maybe even posted. But, it was, the green light was there. And as soon as it was pretty much guaranteed that Kiss was going on, I decided to not do a documentary.
Yeah.
Any sort of video, because I was really wanting to do kind of like our Halloween video.
Yeah.
Where we went like behind the scenes and
kinda
showed
like a vlog.
A vlog, basically. Yeah. I wanted to maybe capture that for this last show in Indianapolis, and was debating on whether I would. And as soon as it was greenlit that the show was going to go ahead, I said, I just want to be in the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
I just couldn't imagine holding the camera. Hey, guys, we're going to Indianapolis. I could have.
Right.
And it would have been fine, because it would have been for you guys, for everybody to enjoy, and for us to enjoy after the fact forever. But I was like, you know what? No, I need to enjoy this now.
Yeah, definitely.
And,
I agree.
I did not take any shortage of pictures or videos of the show.
Right.
But I just wanted to be in the moment. So I guess this is kind of that...
our way of documenting.
Our way of documenting, yeah. Because this is, again, it's your last show. So How are you feeling in preparation before the show?
I was very excited before the show. It was all very bittersweet, obviously. But I was just extra excited coming off of that feeling of it maybe was not going to happen. Because like I said, we were pretty convinced it wasn't for a few days there. So I had kind of, I wouldn't even say made peace with it, but I had already kind of resigned myself to that fact. That,
forcing yourself to deal with it.
Yeah, that it may not happen, and I was really sad about that. So just the fact that it was happening was, enough to just keep me so hyped and excited for the whole day. Even though I knew that sad feeling would come later, I tried not to think about that too much until we got to the end.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is so exciting. It's so special that this is happening. We get to see them in Indy one last time, and Indiana is such an important part of history, so I'm really glad that that's where my last show was. I'm really happy with that. Even though I'm sad I won't be in Rosemont with everybody, I just think it was a perfect ending. It really was.
Was your first show in Fort Wayne or Dayton?
I think Fort Wayne.
So your first show was in Indiana, and your last show was in Indiana, and this was number 8 for you.
Yeah, 8.
Number 8. And
that's pretty good.
In how many years?
In less than a decade, right?
Oh, way less than a decade. Yeah, your first show was in 2016. So.
Oh shoot! Really? Okay.
Yeah, so 7 years.
8 shows in 7 years. That's not bad. That's
not
bad.
Good job.
And honestly, over half, the majority of those shows were on the End of the Road tour.
Same. I'm pretty sure either half or more than half of the shows that I've seen have probably been on this tour alone.
Yeah.
Just because, it's been going on for 4 years, and plus, we've chased them around.
Yeah,
we could have just went to one show.
And obviously, I went to a lot, but there's at least one.
One or two. Tinley Park, Louisville.
Yeah, two already that you've been to without me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously, you'll have Rosemont as well. So you're ending on what number?
16.
16?
This was 15 for me.
Wow.
Which is incredible because my last show, Jeb and I's last show, was August 31st, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And every show since then has just been the cherry on top.
Right,
We've been so blessed and so fortunate. So, no, but kind of like you. Well, no, actually not like you. My last show will not be in Indiana. Right. But that's okay because, more kids shows.
Yeah, and your last one is still going to be so special and important in its own way.
Oh, yeah.
With all of the other friends that are going to be meeting up. So it's
absolutely.
Gonna be awesome.
But this was your show. This was you, Jeb, and I, just the trio,
yep.
Going up to Indianapolis. We usually start off every episode talking about the Kiss Spotlight, the music and the album that we've been listening to most recently. But I think we listened to very little Kiss on the way up there.
We actually did, yeah.
Which is very surprising because it tends to be most, if not all, Kiss on the way up.
Usually.
Where it's like, okay, we have an album or a list of albums that we want to play, or we just go around choosing song after song, whatever it is. It's always Kiss, Kiss, Kiss. But this time, and it was fine. It was just very natural. Whatever. Jeb was playing some stuff, and then I was playing, whatever, just going back and forth. So the only 2 Kiss songs that we actually listened to on the way up were Let's Put the X in Sex and You Make Me Rock Hard.
Yep.
Which are, let's face it, 2 of Kiss's best songs,
they
if you
are
ask
bangers.
me.
No, I'm seriously, though.
I know, but we just lost,
I know.
3 subscribers.
Everybody just clicked off
Somebody's
the video.
all right, I'm headed out. No, but, it was great because
no, they're great songs.
Those songs are so fun. And I've heard Let's Put the X in Sex a lot lately because of Kiss 40. I'm always listening to Kiss 40. But You Make Me Rock Hard doesn't always get a lot of play time on, my time, which I love that song. It was one of the very first Kiss songs I ever heard growing up because Smashes was one of the very first CDs that Jeb and I had. So I've always had a special place in my heart for those 2 songs. And so it's funny how those 2 were the 2 that we ended up listening to.
Ironically.
Are you familiar with You Make Me Rock Hard, the second one?
Yeah.
You've heard that one? Okay, for sure.
Times.
I wasn't sure how familiar you were with that one because, again, I think we've all pretty much heard Let's Put the X in Sex, which is just in and of its own, just its own thing. And
it's a great song. I don't care how silly and how overtly sexual the message is. They're bangers, and Paul's voice sounds so good.
It's I wish I had an eloquent way of saying it, but it's being overtly sexual to the point of comedy.
Yes,
which is what Kiss,
a silly way.
Which is what Kiss does. It reminds you, it's not satire, but it's also satire.
Kind of.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love that. But
they know what they're doing.
Yes, exactly. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're curating it to be that sort of, cool to one audience, cringe to another,
right,
dangerous to another. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they know how to write songs that's gonna bring out different reactions in different people.
Yeah.
Depending on who they are. But anyway, no, I love those two songs, and Jeb and I were pointing out the solos particularly in those two songs. Bruce just cannot craft a bad solo. If you said, Bruce, I'm gonna pay you $1,000 to craft the worst solo, he'd be like,
can't do it.
That's not my gig, but I can recommend somebody else. It's just he can't do it. It's
just not in him.
Even on songs where Kiss fans would say that is like some of the worst Kiss songs, and those are so trash, and you could get rid of those. It's like, no, you gotta keep those solos.
Yeah,
those are some juicy solos.
Yeah, Bruce is one of the big reasons why I love 80s Kiss so much. I think he's easily my favorite Kiss guitar player, and that doesn't mean that I don't love everybody else, but he is just something special.
Yeah, somebody actually asked us while we were at the show. We were standing in line, so I said, "So, what's your guys' favorite Kiss guitar player? Who really does it for you?" And I was like, "Bruce for me."
Yeah.
And I think you said Bruce, and I think Jeb said, Bruce and Ace.
Yeah.
Kind of both there, and then I was like, "Well, Bruce and Tommy,
Right.
And Ace and Mark and Vinny." So I was like, all five.
Everybody.
But,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, but for me, Bruce is, he's just top tier. So. Actually, what I would like to do is spotlight the fans.
Okay.
Because we usually just do music for the Kiss Spotlight. Sometimes we do like a movie or a DVD,
right,
and even like a book or a magazine. But anything Kiss related can be featured in the Kiss Spotlight. And so I'm going to spotlight and shout out the Kiss Army.
Yeah.
Because we met some incredible people.
We met a lot of people.
Awesome. Which is great, because I think we mentioned how sometimes we just stick to our own party. Everybody kind of just sticks to your...
It's easy to do that.
Which, it's fine, because, you want to stay safe and you want to stay together and enjoy it as a family, whatever. But it's nice to, say hello to somebody and, meet somebody new. A lot of people are really cool if you just open up and talk to them.
That's true.
They may seem kind of closed off, but once you open up and talk to them, and plus we're all Kiss fans. We're all in Indianapolis, and we're all feeling the same thing and witnessing the same band for the last time or the second to last time. Either way, it's a very special moment. And so, even right from the get-go, when we got out of the car and was walking down the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. I could see a guy in my peripheral with a Kiss
kind of
jacket.
walking behind us.
And, we're at a crosswalk waiting to cross, and I'm like, do I talk to him? Do I say hi? He's by himself, so maybe that would be cool to, start a conversation. And then next thing you know, we're walking down the street all talking about Kiss.
Yeah, because, all it takes is like, hey, man, dope jacket. Like, are you excited about tonight?
Yeah.
Because he had the coolest jacket on.
Yeah, we were talking about, I think he said his first show had to have been August 2nd, 76, because he mentioned Bob Seger being the opener. And if that's the case, I'm pretty sure that August 2nd, 76 was when Bob Seger opened for Kiss in Indianapolis. And so that was super cool.
That's cool that you know the exact date. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, he was like, he said Bob Seger. And I was like, okay, Bob Seger. That was probably around Destroyer 76, and then I'm pretty sure Kiss played here in August. Yeah. And then I got home and it was like, I'm just gonna look it up real quick. And
awesome.
I can't say for sure because that was his show. He would know.
Yeah.
But if I narrowed it down, it would be August 2nd. So that veteran Kiss fan, right?
Yeah.
His name's Kent, by the way.
I was about to say that too.
Yeah. So really cool guy. And that jacket you mentioned is the brand new End of the Road bomber jacket. And I don't know if you guys have seen those things, but those jackets are not cheap.
No, they're not.
They go for
like $200, right?
High roller, Kent is. So that was really cool. We, I think, kind of hung out with him and walked with him and talked with him up until we got to the line.
Yeah.
Which the line was absolutely insane. Do you want to talk about that? Because you had some thoughts.
We thought we were getting there relatively early, I want to say. So we have a little parking lot that we've used before for this venue that's super cheap and is just a few minutes walk. And it's a lot easier to get out of than like a parking garage. So, we walk our, 9 to 10 minute walk from the parking lot, and we get closer and we see all these people outside, and we see like the outside merch booth, and we're like, surely all of these people are not just for this one merch booth. There's a million other merch booths inside. Come to realize they haven't even opened the doors yet.
Show's in an hour.
The show is in an hour.
Amber Wild is going on.
It was like already almost, I think maybe a couple minutes past 6:30 when we got there, and Amber Wild starts at 7:30. Doors are not open. And so we get our merch because that line wasn't too crazy. But then we were like, okay, well now we need to go. I think that by the time we got through the merch line, I think they had just opened the doors. But we're like, okay, let's go get in the back of this line to get in. And then we just kept following it and kept following it and kept following it around the block. And
3 blocks.
Yeah, 3 blocks, and then it kind of loops around the end of that sidewalk.
Back around again. You're like, wait, what?
It was insane.
It was really weird.
And I mean, it was moving, at a relatively steady pace, but there were so many people that we were in line forever. And like I said, we thought we were early. We ended up missing the beginning of Amber Wild, which luckily we only missed a couple songs, I think, because we ran. Like once we got in there, I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. I don't care. We're finding our seats. I have to hear Silver. So yeah, that was a little insane. I don't know what was going on with the venue, why they didn't open the doors sooner.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It was weird because, I mean, it wasn't Kiss. It wasn't the Kiss Army. I mean,
because we knew people that were at Soundcheck, actually, and that, we knew that Soundcheck had been over for quite some time. So I was like, it's not like the band is late or anything, so I don't understand.
Plus, we had been to this venue just like, what, a month or two ago?
Yeah, a month or two ago.
At the same exact venue, and we just walked right in.
No problem.
And there was no problem. But I don't know, it was really weird. But even everybody else was kind of like, what's going on here? Are they late? Is something happening? Is there a delay? But no, it was super weird. But the cool thing was is that you mentioned being in that merch line real quick.
Yeah.
We met a couple other folks
Yes,
there.
we did.
There was a group of 3 guys, 2 guys and a little boy. It was Alan, Paxton, and Tyler.
Yes.
And I don't know if they were a family. I mean, somebody was obviously
definitely
the father of this little boy, but I'm not sure what the relationship was between everybody else, but it was just cool to, again, talk to some Kiss fans.
Yeah.
Pretty sure the 2 adults had seen Kiss a few times. One of them seen him a lot.
Right.
The other one a few, but I'm pretty sure it was Paxton's first show.
Paxton's first and only Kiss show.
How old do you think he was? Maybe 8?
8 or 9.
8 or 9
max.
years old.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, he had the biggest smile on his face. And it was so cool because I saw him and I was like, hey, dude, is this like your first show? And he was like, yep. And as soon as I said it, he just grinned real big.
So excited.
And I was like, yeah, that's so cool because I was his age.
Yeah, when you saw
20 years ago.
Yeah.
When Kiss was on the Kiss and Aerosmith tour. That was our first show. So it was kind of like a weird flashback moment. But no, that was really cool. We gave him some buttons.
Yep.
And, told him to check out Kiss Army things. That was one of the things we wanted to do too, was socialize and get people watching our podcast because we like what we do and we think a lot of people can, Kiss fans can get something from it and, join in on the fun.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to hand out some buttons and start meeting people. And the only benefit I can think of to being in that ridiculously long line was when we met Denver and his 2 girls.
And his daughters,
because,
they were right in front of us in line.
Because, again, we're just walking eternally to the end of this line.
And it's freezing outside, by the way. It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is late November in Indiana.
It's a cold, brisk Indiana night.
It's dark outside already. It was so cold.
And so we're walking to the end of this line, and we get there, and the gentleman in front of us was wearing the sparkliest jacket of all time.
Silver sparkle.
Walking disco ball, basically, with the spaceman makeup. His 2 daughters had Kiss makeup on.
Yeah, Gina Paul. They looked great. The makeup was so good. I think I heard that their mom did it.
Their mom did
a great job.
For sure. I wish Mom had been there. I didn't see her, but it was just the 3 of them. But either way, it's still really cool because it seemed like the dad was, a lifelong Kiss fan, and then his girls were taking it up, which was super cool because I think they were the most enthusiastic about the Kiss Spotlight that we did.
They were very excited.
Because we talked about this on the last episode where Daphne and I wanted to have some fun with these little flashlight filters that we just made that you can just put over your phone's flashlight to shine the 4 Kiss colors. And, we were trying to, again, like say, hey, do you want to, get on this? Hey, do you have a cell phone? Check out this, for your flashlight, whatever. And so, but they were like, oh, that is so cool. Yeah. And so we made sure to give 1 of each to them. And, that was really cool. And once we got through the line, and into the venue, we did a few things. Jeb got a drink, and like I said, eventually we did go to the bathrooms.
Yep.
And I cannot make this up, folks. I cannot make this up. Once we get in the venue, we've done all our shenanigans, right? We're going to our seats. We get all the way to the tippy top, and you'll never guess who we're sitting by. Denver and his 2 girls.
What are the odds?
There's 17,000, 20,000, whatever people in this place, and out of all those people, you're going to tell me that the folks that we're sitting by are the folks that we were just happened to be standing in line with
the
whole time?
Yeah. And we were like right next, like there was no one in between us. I think there was a single seat between them and us.
Yeah.
And so they were right next to us the whole show. It was crazy.
Yeah, we get there and we're like, dude, this is crazy.
No way.
We're like, it was
and that was really
wild.
cool because it was fun to have somebody next to us that we had already met and we already thought were awesome and had connected with in that way. And it was cool to see the girls during the show because they were having a great time.
They were having the most fun.
Yeah, I think they were most excited about I Was Made for Loving You. That's when they got to their feet and were dancing and singing. So that just made my heart happy. I loved it.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Jeb and I have gloated on this show. Like, oh yeah, man, we're like Kiss's like biggest fans. Nobody goes harder than us at a Kiss show. And thinking we're so cool. I got to give it up, man. These girls, they gave us a run for our money.
Yeah, they did.
They were screaming the whole time, having the most fun. So I'm sure that was a really fun moment for, the dad to have that with, his kids. And again, we're way up top. So it was like, they were really making sure Kiss could hear him.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. So those are some of the folks that we met, the new folks that we met, just, kind of random people. We were very lucky to get to see some old friends.
Yes.
And some of our good friends. The person that kind of rides that line, though, is Randall. Because we know Randall, but we've never met Randall.
Right, it was our first time, and he's the first person that we were looking for that we got to see when we walked in the building.
Because he's a viewer of our show.
Yeah.
And he and I were almost going to go to a Kiss show together last year. Just couldn't quite make the schedule work, and so luckily my friend Rob, was able to go with him, and they were able to see Kiss one more time. But no, it was really cool to meet up with Randall, a viewer of our show, lifelong Kiss fan, huge Kiss fan. Yeah. The one thing I regret, though, is that we didn't get a picture with him.
I know,
because it was so rushed.
Well,
because literally, once we got in, Amber Wild was playing.
We could hear them playing, and so I felt so bad because I was in such a rush to get to our seats. But obviously, we wanted to take a moment because he was there waiting for us.
We were taking pictures. Like, okay, I'm here.
We were
I'm here.
Where is he? And all of a sudden, he's right there waving at us.
Yeah, which was really cool.
So I hate that we were so rushed that I didn't think to take a picture. But shout out, Randall. It was really good to meet you.
Absolutely.
That was awesome.
And what was unfortunate was that, again, the line was so long, it took a while for them to get everybody through. Their opener, Amber Wild's opener, was Breakout. Which was my favorite song.
It's your favorite and the one you wanted to see.
And so that was the one I really wanted to see. So I was like, you know what? It's okay. I can't, I'm not going to complain too much because we're here. And I'm hoping that I can see that live in Rosemont.
That's so true. I forgot that you had another chance to see Amber Wild. Yeah, so hopefully you'll get to see Breakout.
Hopefully I can make it there to see Amber Wild. But anyway, so let's talk about Amber Wild's set now because that's one thing that we were definitely looking forward to because we're enjoying these two singles. That could be an add-on to our Kiss Spotlight. Kiss Adjacent Spotlight was the two songs by them. So, your immediate thoughts on Amber Wild, your review, go.
They were fantastic.
Fantastic.
Like you said, I'm sad that we missed the beginning, but we got to our seats as quick as we could. I want to say we only missed maybe 2.5 songs, something like that.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because they only play 6.
Right.
So that was almost half their set.
But it's not as much as I thought. When we got in there and they were already playing and we still had to, climb the stairs and find our seats way up there, I thought for sure we were going to miss everything. So I'm just grateful that we got to see some of it. They were so good. They're fantastic live. The whole band, they're all on fire. Evan's a great frontman. He's really got great vocals. They sound so good together. And they just have such a good energy. And I love that. I love to see a band on stage that has that enthusiasm and energy and chemistry with each other and everything. I thought they sounded great. Silver, I know I keep saying it, but is my favorite song they've put out so far and was so fantastic live.
Yeah.
I was worried that they would play the 2 singles earlier on in the set, so I thought maybe we had already missed Silver, because when we got in, even though we could hear Breakout a little bit, I couldn't quite make out the other things that they were playing. But then, we were sitting there enjoying the show, and he says something about, we've got two singles out, and we want to play one of those for you, and I was like, well, they already did Breakout, so it's got to be Silver.
And it was.
I am so happy that we didn't miss it, because it was so good live.
I'm willing to argue that Silver sounded better live than in the studio.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Which is crazy because usually you're like, yeah, it sounded live and it was good, but nothing can beat the studio version.
Yeah, no,
this was a case where I was like, because like you said, it's at first I was really drawn to Breakout because of its energy and its upbeat. I wanted that for Silver, but now I'm appreciating Silver for what it is. And hearing it live, I think, really just drove that home. It sounded way better live than it did on, Spotify in the car.
Yeah, because I love the studio version, but yeah, I agree that I think live was even better.
Yeah.
And then the last song they played, which we left a little bit early, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the last song they played is one of their songs called Lover. Hasn't been released as a studio track yet, but I think they've maybe hinted a couple times that might be the next single.
If we're lucky.
And I hope so, because that's another one that is just fantastic live. Yeah. We had already kind of seen some videos of it, so we knew it was one that we were looking forward to, but the bit of it that we did hear was really, really good.
They got a song called Three Shakes. I forgot about that because we watched their set, and I heard that. I was like, oh, that's a good song. That one was fun to hear live, too. Yeah. I hope that one gets released. That one would be a really good single, too, I think.
It would be,
Three Shakes.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't sound like anything modern.
No.
It sounds like something that you would have heard, back in the day.
It does.
That you've been hearing for 40 years.
Yeah.
And it just, blends in with that really good rock. It doesn't... And this is a good thing, by the way. It doesn't stand out as something that is like new. Because sometimes when I hear new rock and that new sound, it doesn't do it for me.
Right, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean. And so obviously Paul is his dad, and he's probably very much rooted in classic rock. Mm-hmm. They're bringing that to the table and mixing that with the new sound.
Yes, it is a good
That's
mix.
what I want to see, because it's not just completely this or completely that. They're taking a lot of different elements and blending them together. Each song sounds like a different era. Like Silver sounds more modern.
Yeah.
Whereas Breakout sounds like something that Deep Purple would have put out in the late 60s, early 70s. You know what I mean? So that's just really cool.
Yeah, I agree, because it's not like they're not trying too hard to sound like the old stuff, to sound like classic rock. They still have their own fresh spin on it, but it has the energy and the heart and soul that those classic bands have,
with some new
flavor. The new flavor and the fresh energy, and I just love it. Another thing I loved was, Evan was kind of, talking to everybody in between songs, and he mentioned his dad and how he was so glad that he was feeling better, and I think he said, to you guys he's Paul, but to me he's just Dad.
Oh, yeah.
Because at first he was saying, I'm so glad he's better so we can be here, and he's like, but mostly I'm just glad he's better because he's my dad.
Yeah, for real.
And then he went on to shout out Gene and Paul and Eric and Tommy and the whole KISS crew and Doc. Yeah, for just being so generous to them and for making everything as easy on them as possible to tag along to this tour. So I thought that was really cool that he takes a moment to just be really grateful for this opportunity that they've been given.
Yeah, I think gratitude was definitely the word of the night.
Yes.
And the feeling of the night.
No, that's so true.
There was a huge sense of gratitude and, hey, Thanksgiving, which is appropriate because this is Thanksgiving season. So there was definitely a lot of that. You mentioned leaving a little early, the set, leaving a little early, and that's because we knew that they were going to be posted up at a merch booth or a table to be meeting fans. And so we thought, okay, we're going to leave a little before their set, we're going to get in line, and we're going to meet them, and it's going to be really quick. And guess what? Long line as well.
Yeah.
Which was good, though, which was cool to see.
It went pretty quick, though.
It went pretty good, but it was cool to see a lot of people wanting to be there, wanting to meet the band, because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, it's either going to be really super packed or it's going to be a ghost town.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You never really know. So Indiana showed up.
They did. It was cool to see.
Night.
And I'm sure, part of that may just be because this is Paul Stanley's son. They may not know a lot about Amber Wild, but obviously, they got to see them live, and hopefully that spurs some people on to look them up. Because we actually talked to a lot of people in line who didn't know that Amber Wild was even opening, or who
surprised.
Amber Wild was.
I was really surprised.
Yeah, because a lot of people were like, do they even have an opener? Because some of the people that were in line with us as we were getting closer to the doors were worried that KISS was actually the one that was starting at 7:30.
Yeah, they were kind of relieved.
And it's 7:30 and we're still not through the door. And so they were like, we're going to miss the opener. Or the opening of KISS. And we were like, no, don't worry. There's an opener. You have plenty of time. And they were like, what? And so we kind of explained to them who it was. So I'm hoping that seeing them live made a lot of people look up the band to see what they have to offer.
I hope so too.
But it was cool to see that many people in line. They had mentioned earlier in their set that, what section they would be in. And we were like, okay, well, we're really far away from that. So let's leave. We know Lover's the last song. Let's leave, maybe less than halfway through. That way we can run to section 3 and get to that line before it's too long. And it was already pretty long when we got there, but luckily we still got there at a good time because it got way longer. Very quickly.
And what was really cool was that Thomas, the whole band came through.
They ran right next to us.
We were, again, waiting in line before their set was over. So when their set was over, they came through the line.
Yeah.
And, it was funny because Evan walked right by us, and I must have been distracted.
Didn't even see him. We were talking
didn't even see him. So I look up, like, oh, wait, that was Evan. But here comes Thomas, the drummer, with, his cell phone, and he's got, pointed at fans walking up the aisle.
He's like, yeah.
And I pointed the camera, and I was like, yeah, Amber Wild, and, he had the camera. I was really hoping it'd be posted on the story. So I haven't seen it yet, but I hope that footage is out there somewhere. Because that was just a really cool moment, because he was getting, like, a crowd shot of Indianapolis, and so we happened to be in that video. But waiting to meet Evan was super cool because we even got to meet a man and his son standing in line.
Yep, right in front of us.
I wish I would have gotten his name. I don't think I did.
I don't think so either. We did give them some of the spotlight papers and some buttons.
And some buttons, yeah.
Now, as well as the folks behind us.
I didn't get his name, but I know for a fact that was his 6th Kiss show.
Yes.
And that his first Kiss show was on the Hot in the Shade tour.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
Which, you're talking
cool.
Unmasked Kiss.
That's so cool.
Eric Carr, Leon the Sphinx, so I'm sure that
would have been so dope to see.
That would have been, I think they're from Toledo, so they came from a long way away, or at least a state away.
Yeah, a few hours.
A few hours at least, so I'm glad that the show went on, for their sake. I know his son was like 12.
Yeah. And
that was like his first Kiss show, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure they were the ones that said, it was his first, but I think they're the ones that said they almost got tickets for Knoxville and decided on Indy instead. Like, they had those two options originally, and we're like, no, we'll go with Indy instead. And they were so glad that they did.
Yeah.
Obviously, because that was just one day off from whether or not it was canceled. So I'm glad that guy and his son for the first time got to see Kiss. He was really excited too.
Yeah, and so they met Amber Wild, and then we met Amber Wild.
It was awesome.
Got our picture taken with him. It was so cool. Jeb was really kind to take the picture for us, but did get to fist bump Evan.
Yeah.
And, you were saying about how...
Because they kind of rushed us through. There were so many people that they were like, all right. The band didn't, but the security there was like, all right, get in, get your picture, get out. So
Evan was super cool. I mean,
yes, they were also nice.
He was making eye contact with everybody. He was responding. You said you've been digging the new songs. And
I was like, we've been listening to the new songs constantly and got a picture with them. Well, I'm sure we'll have shown it on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just really, really cool. Because I know we've been saying we hoped we would get a chance to meet them, but I worried that, line would be too long, we'd have to get back to our seats in time for Kiss, and maybe it wouldn't happen, but it went so smoothly, and they were so nice.
Yeah.
And actually, since then, I've posted just on my Instagram story that picture of us and them, and kind of tagged the band and all the members and everything. And so far, like, a few of them have seen it, and Evan and Thomas have both liked it, and Thomas actually responded and said, it was nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And I was like, awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That was super cool.
That was great.
And so meeting Amber Wild was definitely a highlight of the entire thing, and on the way back to our seats, we were able to, Jeb and I, along with you, but Jeb and I were able to meet up with an old friend of ours that we have not seen in almost a decade.
Yeah.
It was our friend Darius that Jeb and I actually met at the 2014 Kiss Expo.
I can't believe it's been almost 10 years.
I know. It is, like, oh my gosh, I think I had just enrolled in college.
Wow.
And Jeb and I, went to the Kiss Expo. Paul Stanley was the special guest.
Yep.
And we ended up meeting this really awesome gentleman, Darius, who was dressed up in full uniform. I think it was Armed Forces Day, National Armed Forces Day, or Thank a Veteran Day, or one of those holidays and days where we set aside to thank those that serve in our military and in our nation's army. And so, of course, you can't help but, see he stands out. I mean, he was decorated, and so we, definitely thanked him for his service. Had a really cool conversation with him at this expo, and he was kind enough to save our seats for the Paul Stanley Q&A. You're talking second row, man, Paul Stanley. So we've kept in touch a little bit over the years, but haven't been able to actually meet up since. And so it was really nice to see our old friend,
Yeah.
and get to talk with him. He did sound check.
Yeah.
And had the really cool the passes now. When we
The
did
big
ours,
pick.
it was the Kiss Army logo.
Yeah.
And then now the passes are picks.
It's cool.
So it was really cool to see our good friend and get to hear about Soundcheck and how awesome it was. I think they played Got to Choose. Tommy's playing Shock Me now.
Yeah, that's
which
the one that surprised
is really
me.
cool because they did not play Shock Me during our sound
No.
check. So they're switching it up. I know She's been added into the set list for the sound check in some dates as well. So that was really cool to get the lowdown
Yeah.
on sound check from Darius and get to chat with him for a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm glad I got to meet him because I wasn't at that expo in 2014.
No, true.
So it was cool to meet him. I know he is a pretty regular viewer of the podcast now. So shout out Darius.
Shout out to
so
Darius.
good to see you.
Absolutely. And so on our way back to our seats is actually when we found out that we were sitting by Denver and the girls.
Yes,
and
yeah.
so we're sitting there waiting for the Kiss show to start. The curtain's already dropped. And it seems like whenever we go to a Kiss show, we're always just waiting and waiting and waiting
Forever.
in anticipation for Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin to
Yeah.
play. You're just so anxious and you feel like you're just waiting forever. This time it just happened out of
It was-
nowhere.
It was quick. I
You know,
think because we were gone
Maybe
for so
it
long
was
in between.
because we were gone.
Meeting Amber Wild and meeting up with Darius and everything, that we weren't just sitting there the whole time in anticipation.
Yeah.
In fact, like, I was getting a little nervous because we weren't sure. Like, there's not really a set schedule that tells you exactly what
Yeah, when
time
Kiss is going
on.
True.
So we weren't sure. So, we were kind of nervous as we were, making our way through the halls and doing all these different things. I was like, when are they going to start? Like, I'm so scared. And I was like, if we hear Rock and Roll, we're going to have to run so far up these stairs.
Yeah, for real. Because we were at the very, very tip top.
Oh, yeah.
At the show. We decided that because we have seen so many shows on this tour and because money is getting kind of tight, especially in the holiday season, it might be best to just... Well, we had these tickets for forever.
Yeah.
But even then, we decided it would be best to just go ahead and get up high nosebleed tickets just to play it safe and get a really nice, cool bird's eye view.
Yeah, which is also
of the
really
show,
cool.
which was really cool. And so we're all the way up there. Probably the most obstructed view of Kiss I think we've ever had.
Unfortunately,
There was a
yes.
lighting truss and a pole that was kind of in our way that prevented us from seeing the screen. I really couldn't see Gene a whole lot the whole time, but
Yeah.
I just couldn't find any reason to complain too much.
No, seriously.
Because, I mean, even though, yes, it was the last show in Indianapolis, it was your last show, and, I just couldn't think of a reason to complain because we're there.
Yeah,
We're
and
there, they're playing. Paul's better.
Even though it was partially obstructed, we still could see them on the stage, and we still, luckily, they have those two screens on the sides as well that are, like, shaped like the Kiss Army flag.
Yeah.
And those we had a really good view of, so we could at least see what was happening on those. And we also had a great view of Paul's stage.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that was awesome, because that was closer to us, and we had a really good, just like straight down view of that.
Yeah, but there's nothing quite like hearing Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin, especially at a Kiss show, because it's the loudest song.
Yeah.
Because when that song happens, you know what's happening next. It's the hum. And when you hear the hum, and when the curtain dropped again, it was like being home.
Oh my gosh.
For the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
It's like seeing family after being away for a while. It's like, oh, we're home for the holidays. You know what I mean? This doesn't happen all the time, so it's like savor it, bask in it.
Yeah, and it was so bittersweet knowing this. That was my last time hearing that hum and hearing Rock and Roll in that way.
But they did have the new curtain.
Yes.
With no patches.
Oh, it looked so good.
They had the new intro video that they're using where they walk out to the stage.
Yep.
We got to see the really cool silhouettes flashing through the curtain, which I still love that effect.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of really cool stuff to sort of like digest.
Yeah.
And so what were some of the new things about the show that you heard or noticed or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, the new stage setup is just so cool. They keep just adding little things and changing little things as we get closer to the end. And we've kind of talked about some of these things before, but seeing them in person was awesome. Those little, like, I don't know if I want to call them spikes or those little...
Metal rails, I don't know, razors. I don't know what you want to call them.
But those look so cool, and they would like light up different colors. So that was really cool seeing those. And also the pods are a lot different than they were before. Those screens, octagonal screens that they have. The configuration is different. There's, I think, a lot more of them than there used to be.
Seems to be.
So that was really cool to see that in person, too.
They're more mobile now.
Yeah, they go all over the place.
They do a lot of different, like, positioning. like they'll go like slanted one way and then they'll level out and then they'll have some angled towards the crowd.
Yeah.
Whereas some are just raised up and flat horizontal.
Yeah, it's interesting.
You know, it's really cool the different patterns and configurations that they're using.
Yeah, and something that I didn't realize just from seeing some videos online is that when they're like on their side like this, there's lights on the edges of them, and that's not something they really... If they could do that, they weren't using that in any cool way before. But now they're, like, using those as like, a whole separate visual element. So that was really cool to see.
Absolutely.
It was fantastic. They sounded better than ever. Paul sounded great. He seemed to be energetic and in good spirits.
The whole band was in a good mood.
Yeah, they were. I kept saying they were, like, in a silly mood because they just seemed so energetic. Like, they're always, you know, doing little funny things and messing with each other, but it just felt amped up, and it felt like they were so excited to be back. I think you said you maybe heard Paul sniffle a couple times.
He did sniffle twice. Nobody else would have noticed, but I saw his face kind of contort, and then I heard like a sniffle in the mic a little bit, but nobody else could have.
But that's not bad.
But like his voice sounded great. You really couldn't tell that he was sick.
Yeah.
And I know what everybody's thinking, did he even address it and acknowledge it? And he actually did.
He did a little bit, yeah. Well, my favorite moments of that was right before Dr. Love. He said, he was like doing his little intro to the song before Gene starts. And he's like, you know, we need a doctor. And he's like, not me, though. I'm good.
Yeah, not for me. I'm fine.
I'm fine now. So that was cool.
And I guess during sound check,
did he address it
they
then?
did a Q&A, and somebody addressed it, and he said, look, I'll be honest, I've done shows with cracked ribs.
Oh,
I've
saw
done
this quote.
shows with 103 fever, but this time, I really thought it was my time.
I saw that quote.
I was like, damn, I hope he's being dramatic.
I feel like
I think it's one of those moments.
Seeing that quote typed out takes away some of the context and the nuance of, like, because I can hear Paul saying that in a halfway joking way. You know what I mean? Like yeah, he felt...
Because everybody gets that feeling
like,
when you're sick, you're like, oh, I'm going to...
Yeah,
I'm
like
dying.
you feel like death. But, like, I feel like I can hear him saying that in a somewhat sarcastic way.
But also at the same time, it was still pretty serious.
Still very serious, but I do feel like sometimes seeing quotes out of context without hearing the tone of somebody's voice can make you think it's more dramatic than it is.
I didn't like hearing that.
No,
the fact that Paul Stanley thought he was actually going to die, I was like, no, sir. Not today, not now.
Yeah, but hey, he's back at it. He's doing great.
Yeah, so he did acknowledge, the fact that he was sick.
Yeah, and luckily, here in a few days, he's going to be able to rest, for as long as he needs to.
Yeah.
Just a few more dates left to get through, and he's in tip-top shape. I was worried that you might be able to tell he might seem fatigued or anything.
Yeah, like he kept it chill, not move around. Nah, he was in full Star Child mode.
Yeah, if he was feeling that way at all, he was not letting the audience know because his performance was fantastic as always.
It was.
Yeah.
What was kind of interesting though is at one point he must have cut his finger.
Yeah, playing guitar or something.
I think it was during the dual solo.
Yeah,
he must have cut his finger because you could see like a little bit of blood, and then
he kept looking at it.
He got in the microphone. He was like, "I'm bleeding. I'm not supposed to bleed."
That's Gene's thing.
Gene's thing. He's the king of the blood. Oh, Gene made me do this.
Yeah, he made this happen.
And then he goes over and like flings blood over on Gene.
To Gene.
And then goes back to the microphone, and then kind of continues on. But that was there was a lot of these off the cuff moments happening last night in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Which was really cool to see because, Kiss follows a very tight script.
Yeah.
I really do think that Paul has gotten really good over the years at keeping his banter short and sweet. Mm-hmm. Because it used to be back in the day, you would just get like 2 minutes of some off the wall stuff.
Of just unhinged,
2
string
minutes
of consciousness.
Yes, 2 minutes of unhinged Paul Stanley with the most craziest banter that you just didn't know where it was going to go.
Yeah, you're like, what are you talking about?
And now he's gotten really good at just keeping it to like these really good, 20, 30 second spots.
Yeah,
now,
that are actually relevant to that part of the show.
The trade-off, though, is that they're less unhinged and more scripted. Therefore, you hear them night after night. For instance,
you know what he's going to say most of the time, which is fine. That's how a lot of shows
this
go.
song came out in 1983. Some of you weren't born in 83.
Right.
For a while, he used to say that, you're looking at a band that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because you got us there.
Right.
And so we thank you. So there's some of these things that, are repeated, but it's because he's keeping it short and sweet. A lot of people, we're getting kind of over the
long stage
extending
raps,
those stage raps and those banters. So, but again, the trade-off is that you just get some of the same things, boom, 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 over and over again. But last night in Indy was a lot of this, a lot of these unique moments.
Yeah.
And the most unique and the most important one of the night was when Paul Stanley shouted out Bill Starkey.
Yes.
And the KISS Army and just Indiana as a whole.
Yeah.
He said that there was a young man, he said, all it takes is a young person with a set of balls and a good idea or some independence, to make a difference in the world. And he said it was Bill Starkey and Jay Evans. I'll go ahead and add Jay, but Bill's the one who usually gets the credit. But it was Bill and Jay who called the radio station demanding to play KISS in the name of the KISS Army. Otherwise, we're going to surround your station. We're going to blow up your station. And
did they say blow up?
This was back in the day. They wrote letters to the station.
Well, I know that, but...
They did say that they were going to blow up their station.
I did not know that.
Yes,
I knew that they surrounded.
Yeah.
I did not know that
they threatened. They said the KISS Army will blow up your station. We will surround you. We will take over.
Which they did surround them, but I don't think they ever had any intentions of blowing
it wouldn't
up.
work today. But I mean, you can imagine back in the day, like
they get arrested immediately.
No, for sure, because the internet. But back then it was just two teenage boys,
right,
just having fun, and the radio.
And I'm sure it was clear.
And the radio's like, yeah, right. And it's a bunch of dumb high school kids, and so I don't know if everybody always says there was like 2,000 people. I think that's like the number that's been put out there. I think it was more likely 500.
Yeah, that
and
sounds...
it looked like some say nobody. So
500 is still a lot of people.
Some people say that it was nobody. That nobody actually surrounded. It was all just myth.
No,
but who knows? But either way, that's how the KISS Army was born. It was born up in Terre Haute, Indiana, because of Bill and Jay, and so Paul made sure to make Indiana feel special because it was our night, our last time. Yeah,
and Indiana is the birthplace of the KISS Army, so that was so cool that he made sure to point that out.
Yeah, and he said a really fantastic guy, amazing young man, Bill Starkey.
Yeah,
created the KISS Army, and he also mentioned that it was KISS's 27th time in Indianapolis.
Have you fact checked that for us?
And I said, oh, okay, I know how I can get that information and fact check that.
Yeah.
I'm here to say that is correct.
Okay.
If you include...
Paul did his research.
Or somebody did it for him.
Somebody did his research for Paul.
Either way, that is technically correct.
Okay.
If you include all of the Noblesville shows as well.
Oh,
because Noblesville is technically a part of Indianapolis.
It's close.
It's close. Yeah, because every time we see them in Noblesville, they always say Indianapolis.
Right, yeah.
They don't ever really say Noblesville. They usually just say Indianapolis. So if you include all the Indianapolis and Noblesville shows, 27.
Okay.
That is technically correct.
Wow, that's great.
So that was really, really cool. I think they've played Indiana like 76 times maybe over the course of history, the last 50 years. So, yeah, that was really cool. It did make Indiana feel really special, and it was nice for all those folks who... Again, we all didn't know whether it was going to happen, so I think KISS did a really good job at making sure that everybody felt included and had a good time and made it memorable.
Yeah, definitely.
Some of the other things in the show that were new that we really didn't talk about was Paul's stage.
Oh my gosh, yes, we have to talk about this.
I don't know if maybe I just haven't watched any footage of Love Gun in a while, but it seemed like Paul's stage, his B stage, was way vamped up. They had a really cool star in the middle.
It definitely is different from last time we saw them.
Yeah.
I don't know how new it is, but I don't remember that stage ever being shaped like that or having a giant star on it.
And then the blue lights that were like a gate.
Yeah, well, they went all the way around. I mean, there was all kinds of cool lights during the part where Paul was on his B stage. But, yeah, the coolest part was when... We'll have to post... I think I have a cool picture of it. We'll have to add a picture of it here.
Yeah.
But there's this really cool part where these lights, surround the stage and go all the way up to the ceiling. So it does look like there's... like a wall of lights around him. Oh, that was awesome.
It was really, really cool.
And the way they used that, golden disco ball was... so cool as always, and I just love that whole section. That was my favorite part.
That was super, super cool. So we're getting kind of towards the end here. I want to know your thoughts about the set list.
Okay.
What do you feel about this end of the road set list? You saw KISS for the last time. Was there any songs besides Crazy Nights that you wish you could have saw? Were there any songs that you saw last night that just stood out more than any other? What are your thoughts about the actual, because we always talk about the show and the different things that they're doing, but let's just do the music for a minute.
Yeah.
How was this set list for you?
I'm pleased with it.
I know it's been pretty similar to the ones you've seen.
Yeah, I was going to say,
differences,
I'm pretty pleased with it overall. It is what I expected. The addition of Making Love was awesome.
Oh, yes.
I love that.
Yes, my first time hearing that live.
Yeah,
Yours
so that
too.
that was awesome, and all of the visual elements that they had during that, all the like rock and roll over,
oh my gosh, they were so cool,
comic booky stuff.
Very rock and roll over
was very cool. So I really enjoyed Making Love. I would have liked to see some more 80s stuff. Like I know you said besides Crazy Nights, but like Crazy Nights
or Tears Are Falling.
Or Tears Are Falling would have been so good. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with it. I think they do a pretty good job of balancing it. I do kind of wish that, towards these last few shows, they maybe would have made some other changes other than Making Love. That would have been cool to have something that was a surprise.
Uh-huh.
But no, overall, I'm pleased.
Yeah, I've really been pretty pleased with the set list.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the folks that are seeing Kiss are seeing them. I mean, even in Indiana, when it's their 76th time playing Indiana, their 27th in Indianapolis, there are still people seeing them for their first time.
Yeah.
And so, those people are going to want to see Detroit Rock City Black Diamond shout it out loud, Love Gun.
Yeah, as they should.
And as they should,
Yeah.
exactly. And so I'm usually listening to the B-sides on my personal time anyway. So when I hear shout it out loud, it's like, oh, I haven't listened to this song
in a while, yeah.
on my own, like actively searching for it in a while. So this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But no, I do agree that there's a really cool section where Tommy and Paul go back and forth.
I love that part.
With some really cool bluesy, nice like 70s rock and roll licks, these tasty riffs and licks, trading back and forth with, and then ending with some dual harmonic guitar solos.
The dual stuff is so good.
I
the
think
melodies.
that is so cool.
Yeah.
However, they could use that spot for another song.
Agreed. And or just shorten that. It is pretty long.
It is pretty long, and even though I don't want to take away Eric's solo, I don't want to take away Tommy's shooting rockets, keep all of that.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of those moments where I think that they could maybe
squeeze in
another song.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, for instance, that part of the song or part of the show with Tommy and Paul going back and forth on guitar. And I also haven't really gotten used to... I've gotten used to it, but I still wish they would play Psycho Circus and 100,000 Years in their full form.
Yeah, and I was really...
Because Psycho Circus is one of my favorite songs to hear live.
Yes, Psycho Circus is still one of my favorite moments of the show, even though it is cut short.
It's so
but
good.
I was really struck this time by... Like, I knew 100,000 Years was, very cut down, but it was way shorter than I thought. It was like nothing.
It was only the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a bummer because I love that song.
Because what they used to do is they would play the first half of the song and then would do a drum solo and then come out of it. So now what they're doing is they're putting the drum solo halfway in between Psycho Circus.
Yeah. I don't love that.
And coming out into 100. They should just play the entirety of Psycho Circus.
Yeah.
And 100,000 Years and put the drum solo in between there.
We're only saving like 2 minutes here, guys. It's fine.
It's not that... Yeah, it's really not that big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I definitely agree that I would have loved to hear both of those songs in full. Psycho Circus still hit because they kept enough of it in that it still was fantastic. It's one of my favorite songs live, too, every time.
Every time.
But 100,000 Years is so disappointing because you hardly get any of it. It's so sad.
That's one of Jeb's top 5 favorites there.
Every time we listen to that song, it's one of those ones I don't think about as being one of my favorites, but every time we hear it, I'm like, this is so good. So that would have been good to see. I do love that they've continued to keep Say Yeah in the set list. That makes me really happy. Because, we know that it's a pretty small portion of that audience that may know that song and like that song.
That's going to appreciate that song.
Yeah, will appreciate it like we do. But it's so good live. It's like one of my favorite moments every time. And it's so good because... it's so interactive and so easy to catch on to, even if you don't know the song. So I just feel like it's such a fun, like, crowd interaction moment every time.
Did you feel like it went over better last night than ever before?
I think so.
Because it seems like every time they play that song, it seems to be, one of the more dead moments in the show where, because it hasn't been out for 40 years... because it didn't come out in 1977.
And because it's Tommy and Eric.
It doesn't quite... it just doesn't get the same level of, crowd reaction that other songs would. And even though beforehand this one wasn't either, it seemed like as the song started, once they got to the chorus and the part at the end where it gets real quiet, let me hear you say it. Indy, let me hear you say yeah, and it gets real big for that last moment. It seemed like as the song went on, the crowd was getting into it more and more, I think it has something to do with the fact that it is so easy and simple to sing. Because I'm of the mindset that I would like to hear Modern Day Delilah because it's way more that riff is way dirtier.
It's a better song.
It's
overall.
a way better song.
Yeah.
It's way more upbeat. That solo is just nasty. But when it comes to a live audience, a modern audience,
yeah, I think Say Yeah is the right choice.
Scientifically is the clear choice.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
not even about your opinion because your opinion can be anything.
Right.
But factually speaking, Say Yeah is the one that, if they're going to play between Modern Day Delilah, Say Yeah, or Hell or Hallelujah,
yeah,
it's going to be Say Yeah.
Definitely.
And it makes sense. So
Yeah.
I think it went over better last night.
I think so too.
Because I was looking around at people, and I was seeing people singing it.
Yeah.
Which was really cool to see.
I did still notice, there are some people that I saw that chose that song as their moment to go to the bathroom or get another drink or whatever. So there's still some people that are like, I don't care.
Well, they're missing out.
Overall, I mean, I feel like everybody in our section was singing it, and
Yeah.
I did feel like I could hear a lot more of the crowd than usual on that song. So that was really cool.
Yeah, and you mentioned the band's harmonies.
Oh my gosh.
Which they're always good, but the band was sounding really good last night.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if this is just in my head, but I almost feel like Gene and Eric and Tommy's mics were up more than usual, and possibly just to kind of help Paul out since he's recovering or whatever. But I feel like I was hearing these 3 and 4 part harmonies stronger than ever. Because sometimes I feel like the other guys' mics are too low. We're seeing them sing back up and stuff, and kind of hearing it quietly, but you don't hear it as strongly. But I feel like I could hear everybody so clearly last night, and they sounded so good together. I love a good 4-part harmony.
Yeah, and Eric was playing like a monster.
Yes, he was. Always.
Tommy was really letting loose, and I mean,
they were just having fun.
It was a fun Kiss show.
They were just having fun. We were just laughing at so many different parts. We know that we always have this moment between Gene and Tommy, where Gene's getting all up in Tommy's face while they're playing and trying to lick his face and stuff. And so that's not new necessarily, but that moment just felt extra funny. We probably have some footage of it. But Gene was just really, really going hard, trying to mess with Tommy, and Tommy was laughing.
Oh yeah, and they're messing with Eric a lot too.
Yes, especially at the end, at the encore, we have some really funny footage that was funny to watch back, because from our seats, obviously, we didn't have the best view, so I feel like I couldn't see everything that was happening in the moment. But looking back at some of the videos that Xander took, was really funny to see how they were kind of just poking Eric and,
Eric was bowing to Gene and Paul.
He was doing one of those "we're not worthy" bows to Gene and Paul. That was really funny.
And then at one point, all 4 of them were actually standing on that little pod, kind of crowded together, and then Tommy at one point pushed through Gene and Paul and said, I know, look at me, I'm in front, it's me, I'm Tommy. And that was really cool to see. That was cool to see Tommy kind of push through and be like, no, I'm the guy, that was fun. So yeah, the band was in really good spirits. They did the whole, they bowed, they took their photo.
Yeah.
It was a really great way to say farewell to Indiana.
Yeah, and it was so bittersweet. Rock and roll all night. Obviously, that's such an electric moment of every Kiss show, and it's so special every time, but this time was extra special for me because I know for a fact this time that it is my last time that I will be experiencing that. So it was so exciting, but I feel like the second the lights went out, I just started feeling it. I was like, man. And then as soon as God Gave Rock and Roll to You starts playing, because luckily this time we were not in a huge rush to get out immediately. We just kind of sat down for all of that song and just took it in, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah, watched as the stage crew took the stage down, and we watched
leave.
Fans were leaving, and it was just a bask in the moment.
Yeah. So it's sad, but also I'm very, very grateful that we had the opportunity to see the show and that it didn't get canceled and Paul got better in time. It is everything I hoped for and more. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you were able to go see your last Kiss show too. And as we're wrapping up, I think it'd be cool to show some of the merch we got, because if you think that we didn't spend $1 at a Kiss show, you're wrong, even though we were trying not to.
But hey, we bought those concert tickets forever ago, so that part was free.
Yeah.
And so, of course, we're going to buy stuff.
But we did hit the merch booth twice.
Sorry.
So let's talk about that because I see that you're wearing a really cool shirt there.
Yes, I am already repping my Amber Wild shirt. I was super excited to get something from them because obviously they're so new. They don't have a lot yet. They don't have any CDs out yet or anything. But they did have 2 shirts for sale. And I was like, I'm definitely picking up one of those. They had another one that was like a long sleeve white that has the big logo on it. And I wanted to get that one, but they were out of my size. But I'm actually really pleased with just the simple black one with the AW on it. I think it's so cool. And I don't know. I'm hoping that they're going to, make it big before too long and that, this is going to be cool that I had one of their first, pieces of merchandise. So I love that.
I love it. That's awesome. And then did you what else did you get?
I realized that even though I've been to a bunch of End of the Road shows by now, I don't have any End of the Road merch or shirts at all.
It's crazy that you somehow got away without getting one shirt.
I don't know how that happened. I have so many Kiss shirts, but I don't have any End of the Road. So I figured I had to get one. And it took me so long to decide which one I was going to get. And I still wish I had both, but they're just too expensive. But this is the one I ended up going with, the one with the cool Japanese stuff on it. I think it's awesome. And the main reason I chose this one over the black one that I almost got is because this one has all of these cities from the tour on the back.
I'm glad one of us got a shirt with tour dates on it.
Yeah. It doesn't have the actual dates, just the city names, but it's the final 50.
Yeah.
Obviously, huge bummer that a few of these down here, unfortunately did not end up happening. But I still think it's cool to see all those tour dates and to see our little Indianapolis there at the bottom. So yeah, I just think it's such a cool graphic and such cool colors, and I can't wait to wear it.
I love it. And then is there anything on the sleeves too? Chikara
yes,
on the sleeves?
Yes, the Chikara symbol
Look at
on the
that.
sleeves. Yeah, both sleeves.
That's a nice touch.
Cool. I love it.
That is a nice touch.
Yeah.
I love that shirt.
Yeah.
I'm actually wearing today the same shirt I wore last night.
You are. Yeah, still your buttons.
I got my buttons on just for good vibes. I was like, well, if I wore this last night, I'm going to wear it today since it's going to help me, remember everything. Yeah. I did not get a t-shirt this time, but I did get the new lithograph, which I am super, super happy about because when they announced when they uploaded some new merch to KOL, one of the first things I wanted to get was the lithograph.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, starting next episode, this is going to replace that one. And I can't wait because I bought this one at the beginning of the tour. And I was really disappointed with the quality of the print. I don't know if everybody's print was like this, but I think I paid $40 for that one and $30 for this one.
And that one is way better.
Miles better. This is worth like $50 if that one's worth $40, whatever, easily. But no, this one, just to me, it looks fine from where you're at, but out of the frame, the quality of the print was not that great. The stock it's on,
very dark and kind of monotone.
It is very dark. The paper is very, very thin. It's almost like just really thin paper that was printed on a home computer.
Printer paper, yeah.
Printer paper, yeah, but really big. So I don't know what the deal was, but I'm really excited to have this one because this one is super, super high quality.
It's gorgeous.
It has the 50 logo or the 50th anniversary logos on the bottom here. They're textured and raised.
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
Yeah. It's
super awesome.
And it's shiny.
I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it, so if you can't see it, that's fine. I'll just kind of tell you. But even the lights themselves up here, they're not textured. But in certain lighting, you can actually see the lights, reflect and shine. And I'm not sure how they did that, but just what a awesome poster.
Incredible print.
So I cannot wait to put this up behind you because it's going to make
it's going to look so cool.
Even more colorful. It's going to look so good next to the Sonic Boom. It's going to make
all that gold,
all that color is really going to stand out. So I think I did show this in the last episode, so it's not really new, but it is still relevant.
Still dope.
It is the new tour book. I was able to get this on KOL, but the tour... I was going to mention this and somehow forgot. Maybe I started my sentence and then went somewhere else, because I do that a lot. I wanted to get that poster on KOL, but they were sold out. When they first uploaded... There you go. When they first uploaded the merch to KOL, I was like, I got to get that lithograph, but they were sold out. And I was really bummed, so I was like, well, maybe if I can at the show, I'll just pick one up. And so I was luckily able to do that. And so it matches perfectly with the tour book. Again, I'm so glad that show in Indianapolis happened because this is obviously a Final 50 tour book. And so to be able to see Kiss on the final 50 and have a tour book is just really nice. And so they did an amazing job with this tour book. If you guys can pick yours up on Kiss Online for only $40, and you can also get yours at the show while supplies last. So there's my plug for KOL, and we even got a not a KOL, a end of the road shopping bag. What? No, you joke. I actually do
That's
have
a highlight for you.
I do have somewhat of a Kiss shopping bag collection, but this one is a lot bigger, a lot taller than the ones that we had. I think, or that we had gotten in the beginning. So yeah, just one more bag to add to my Kiss shopping bag collection.
Yeah, and this one has the final 50 little coins on it, so that's cool.
That's how you know it's cool.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's super awesome. And then actually, this isn't merchandise. This isn't merchandise, but I was able to get some confetti.
Yeah. Even though we were way up high.
We were way up top. There wasn't a single piece of confetti that rained on us that I saw. Which is fine, because, again, we knew we were way up top. So
and we've experienced, being on the floor before.
Yeah,
so it's okay.
So it was just nice to watch everybody on the floor getting to the moment where it just, rains down confetti.
Yeah.
I had my last moment last time. That's fine. Yeah. I'm good. I just didn't think I would actually get any confetti. So as we were walking out, there was some on the floor, and I just kind of, as I could, scooped them up and brought them home. That probably sounds really crazy to some folks. Like, the way, whoa, this guy has confetti? That's like, this air came from the Yankees game. It's like, what does it matter? I don't know. I don't know.
Plenty of people collect stuff like
that.
Well,
there is a story behind it. Maybe at one point I'll do a whole video on the channel about it after this tour is over and we're all in reminiscing, in memory lane mode.
Yeah.
I'll do a video on all the Kiss confetti and why I collect Kiss confetti, but for now I'm just going to show you the Kiss confetti. Now I need to get a jar and a label made, because
I don't know where you're going to
put it. Not only do I collect, neither do I. Not only do I keep the confetti, but I jar it and label it like a total psycho.
Super cool, actually.
So I have somewhat of not every single show. No. There would be no room, but for a lot of the shows I have jars of confetti for, so I'm pretty sure that is it. Jeb also got a lithograph.
Yes, poster, yeah.
Also bought a lithograph, so that's really cool. But I think that's pretty much it for us in our haul. Not sure what I'm going to get in Rosemont, but that's the next stop for me. So
that's tomorrow for us and today for you guys if you're watching it on the day it came out.
Absolutely. Either way, thank you guys so much for joining us in this episode. Hopefully you guys are feeling a little bit more confident about Kiss. I know for a few days there it was really, really wild, and we were thinking it was Amber wild. I mean, we were not sure what was going to happen, and I think a lot of us, like you were saying, had just kind of begun making peace with the fact that Kiss would possibly cancel these last handful of shows and just focus on New York and then just ride into the sunset.
Yeah.
And I know even now, even though Indianapolis did happen, and we're going to go ahead and assume that Rosemont and Baltimore happened, it still does seem kind of odd that these shows were canceled. And a lot of people, if you're a Kiss fan right now, you're going to be getting you're going to be seeing a lot of hate, a lot of really crap stuff
online.
A lot of negativity. Of people just dragging Kiss through the mud because of Paul. I mean, even on our page, which is like, we're like the most positive part of the entire Kiss community, I feel like, or like, one of them. And we even had some vile stuff being said about, Paul and his health and Kiss. And so if you're seeing that, don't engage.
No.
Don't even acknowledge it.
And no offense, I love all of you, but if you're thinking about commenting something like that right now, we don't want to hear it.
We don't want to hear it. Keep positive. Stay positive. Do you. Don't ever listen to any of the haters. They are not the reason why Kiss is here 50 years. You are.
Exactly.
We are. That's what matters. And if you're still... I'm not saying you can't feel bad if your show is canceled. I totally understand.
You can be upset.
I'm not saying you can't feel bad if your show, because I do think that Kiss should have been more upfront with the cancellations. Could have handled it better. Yeah. It seemed like they were just kind of delegating that to the venue to make an official statement.
Yeah.
And then sort of waited to the last minute to see, which I get. You want to make really good and sure, but you're also putting fans at risk. Not at risk, but you're kind of inconveniencing fans because they have been looking forward to this for months, have paid money, and have made arrangements and scheduled off work.
Yeah.
So not only are they losing money on tickets and gas and food and all that, but they're also losing money away from work. That's a big deal.
Yeah, and a lot of people are traveling really far
Yes,
distances,
and that does matter.
getting plane tickets, hotels, and that's it's a lot of money for a lot of people. So I mean, I do think it's great that everybody's getting refunds for their tickets, but yeah, I definitely agree that the band could have handled it better and could have been more upfront with people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, at the end of the day, those shows would have been canceled anyway, and there's nothing that could be done about Paul's health. So as disappointing and as unfortunate as it is, it's no excuse to be just spreading negativity and hate.
And we all know that if Kiss could have, they would have absolutely rescheduled.
100%.
They've
rescheduled everything
when Jeb
that's been
and
canceled
I
before.
were in Tinley Park and saw Kiss, and was on our way back the next day to pick you up to see Dayton.
Yep.
Halfway through, we got the call or got the notification, got the, got the news that the show had been canceled because of Fran's passing, and it was like, okay, we can sit here and be upset, we can sit here and whine and sit in our little puddle of mud, but we need to understand that there's bigger things happening, there's more important things happening, which in that case was Fran, his passing, and the band's dealing with that. In this case, it was Paul's health.
Yeah.
So it's up to us to be in control of our emotions, and be in control of what we can be in control of, because it was not Paul's and Kiss's doing to cancel those shows, and if there was anything they wanted to do more than anything was to play those shows.
Yeah,
and they would have rescheduled if they could.
At the end of the day, you can't always control what happens, but you can control how you react to things.
Boom.
And I mean, like you said, that show that you were talking about that got canceled did get rescheduled, because at the time there was so much time to do so.
It was a plausible thing to do.
I think we all know that had there been time, these shows would have 100% been rescheduled, but there just simply is no time before those final dates, and they can't keep pushing that back.
It's not fair to those who are in New York, who paid $1,800 minimum or whatever to see a Kiss's last show, only for Kiss to go, oh, by the way, ha ha ha, JK, which, by the way, is what everybody's saying.
Right.
Everybody's saying, oh, Paul got sick and canceled, well, now they got to go on the 2024 recovery tour, and a bunch of more junk that, again, does not deserve our time and attention. Those jokes are tired, those people are ignorant, and they have no place here, and we're here to have a good time, a positive time. We're so thankful to see Kiss. I hope everybody is able to, who's going to New York, and even, the Rosemont and Baltimore shows, have safe travels, have a good time. If you're going to be in Rosemont, definitely come up to Rob and I and Brant and Nick and Nico and Jeb and Emily, and everybody's going to be there. Say hi. I know the majority of us are going to have buttons to pass out. We do have a handful of filters, phone filters for the Project Kiss Spotlight. So we'll be handing out some of those. I'm going to try and get some of the guys to...
Oh, for sure.
Take a handful and maybe pass them out to the guys in their section. Because we did see a few lights last night lighting up. We handed out quite a bit of them last night. And if you looked around, you could see some red, some green, some blue.
And that's even with... We didn't... Obviously, since the doors opened so late and it took so long for us to get in, I don't think we were able to pass out as many as we initially hoped.
Right.
But even with, what we were able to pass out, it was cool to look up every now and then and see a green one over there, a red one over there. So, very cool.
And you did a really good job at doing it at every, interval of the show where there's a big moment.
Yeah.
I was a little busy taking some photographs and videos.
You were doing videos and stuff, so I was like,
you were really good
Gene spitting blood, time for the red one.
I did do red. I did do red for a minute.
Yes.
My main thing was the green. I wanted to do green for Beth. And, Eric said, Indianapolis, light this place up. And so you saw a bunch of lights go up, and if you looked, you could see some green. And so that was really cool. It seemed like the kids were the most receptive. Yeah. There was a few kids and a few young people that we gave them out to that seemed to be really into it. So
and
that was really cool.
Some of them were even familiar with the concept from other bands and artists that have done, whose fans have done projects like this. Yeah. Like when we were in line to meet Amber Wild, there was a teenage girl behind me who I was giving them to, and I started to kind of explain the whole concept, and she politely cut me off because she was like, "Oh yeah, no, I know how to do it. Like that's awesome." I was like, "Yeah, give them to me. I'll do it. That's great." So awesome. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was a great time. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us on our little review of the farewell to Indianapolis from Kiss. We thank you guys so much. You guys can like and subscribe if you want. Comment on every single show. Or not every single show, unless you want to. But I want to hear about your guys' experience on this tour. Tell me about the shows that you've gotten to see, what your favorite memories were. I don't even know. There's so many, so many memories for us to list. But I love it and enjoy hearing about you guys again. You know, I spent a whole section about, talking about the KISS fans we met and their history and their stories. So I love, the KISS Army when we all get involved and we discuss KISS Army things. That's hence the name of the show. So we'll see you guys in the next episode. Like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And then we will see you in episode 75. Until then, my name is Xander.
My name is Daphne.
In Rosemont, I'm coming out there to see ya.